A Gering man will not be standing trial after firing a gun during an altercation in the Fresh Foods parking lot last year. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, the jury was selected and ready to hear arguments following a March 22 shots fired investigation in Gering, but the defendant signed a plea deal just hours before the trial was slated to begin. Leonard Gonzalez and his brother Anthony were arrested last year following an altercation that ended in the Fresh Foods parking lot and the discharge of a gun. Leonard was supposed to stand trial on Wednesday in district court, but instead pleaded no contest to a Class 1D felony charge of felon in possession of a firearm and a Class 2A felony charge of attempted first-degree assault. He'll learn his fate on May 30th for sentencing. His brother Anthony had pleaded no contest to his charges last year and was sentenced to 4 to 8 years in prison. Well, the driver of a semi hauling hay bales was fortunate this morning to escape serious injuries in a collision with a BNSF train on the southeastern edge of Morrill Friday morning. Shortly before 8 a.m., the driver was attempting to cross the tracks on County Road 9, just east of Morrill and south of Highway 26. Officers tell KNEB an eastbound train had just cleared the crossing, and the semi-driver proceeded across the tracks, but was then struck by a westbound train. The train struck the trailer and carried it approximately 75 yards westward down the tracks. The driver was taken from the scene and transported to Regional West Medical Center in Scottsbluff to have injuries checked, and train traffic through the area was expected to be shut down for a few hours for crash investigation and cleanup. We'll have more news right after this.
Swipe right, swipe left, endlessly searching. Finding the perfect match isn't always perfect, but it can be when it comes to finances. Nora found the perfect business loan. Jenny opened her first savings account. Grammy loves her checking account. We found a match for Wilson Farms. The Sandersons were matched with a mortgage. Regardless of your financial situation, Platte Valley Bank will match you with the perfect solution. Find your match at Platte Valley Bank.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance, and in retrospect, a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. The felony assault case against former Nebraska interim head coach and assistant Mickey Joseph was dismissed because the alleged victim refuses to testify. Joseph had faced a charge of assault by strangulation in connection with a November domestic disturbance at a Lincoln home. A preliminary hearing was scheduled, but prosecutor Erica Pruce told Lancaster County Judge Lori Yardley the alleged victim said in an email she would not testify. The alleged victim now lives in Arizona. Pruce said a law enforcement officer unsuccessfully attempted 7 times to serve the subpoena, compelling the alleged victim to appear. Well, Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen has accepted the immediate resignation of Department of Economic Development Director Tony Goins. The resignation comes on the heels of questions raised in recent reports by the Nebraska Examiner about Goins' use of state email tied to political events held at a Lincoln Cigar Lounge where he's a 51% owner. In a story Tuesday, additional concerns were raised about whether there was a conflict of interest regarding NDED approval of CARES Act small business sustainability grants totaling $24,000 received by the business in 2020. The Nebraska Examiner reported no statement of a real or potential conflict of interest had been filed with the State Accountability and Disclosures Commission. The governor's office said they will have further comment on the future leadership of the department in due course. And in a surprise announcement to her colleagues Wednesday, Senator Suzanne Geist of Lincoln, who represents District 25, announced she has stepped down to go all in with her bid to become Lincoln's next mayor. Governor Jim Pillen held a news conference Thursday announcing the appointment of Carolyn Bosson to fill the legislative vacancy and preserve conservative lawmakers' ability to force an end to debate during filibusters this session. Bosson will serve the final year of Geist's term, which ends in January 2025, and will be eligible to run for the seat in the November 2024 election.
Welcome to Kelly's, home of the Valley's best selection of wine, spirits, and beer. Whether you're brand loyal to the tried and true brew or really enjoy trying something different and new, Kelly's has something for everyone. Family owned and operated and right on your way on West 27th Street in Scotts Bluff. Kelly's Liquor. If you can't find it at Kelly's, it's not worth drinking.
Fly United Airlines operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
This is KNEB.TV weather from the KNEB Storm Center, your trusted source for weather.
We're going to be dealing with clear skies across the area tonight. Not much going on. Light winds, comfortable temperatures down into the 30s as we go later on into tonight. We do have a very nice Easter weekend coming up. I think the warmest temperatures are going to be Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, but we're going to be mild through that period. Only an isolated sprinkle around maybe tomorrow. Otherwise, winds are not going to be as strong, and it is going to be pretty nice. Taking a look at that Easter forecast, early in the morning, temps going to be in the 30s. By lunchtime, into the upper 50s and low 60s as we go into the afternoon. A very nice Easter Sunday coming our way. 48 yesterday after a low of 19 degrees. We had nothing in the rain gauge yesterday, right at 1/10 of an inch for the month. That's short by about 2/10. Still about 2/10 above normal for the year. And again, an inch of snow fell from that storm system that gave us that 1/10 of an inch of moisture this month. Well, so far, we've had 4 days in a row of below normal temperatures. We trended back up here into the low 60s today and right at or slightly above normal. And we're going to stay that way for several days. Just the 1 day of precip there back on Tuesday. And our chances of precip, again, a sprinkle around tomorrow night. Otherwise, isolated activity Thursday, Friday of next week, maybe an isolated shower or storm. That's about it. Wind speeds are not going to be too bad, really, any of the next 7 days. Starting to get a little breezier as we go into Friday. As we look at the temperatures right now across the country, you can see that cold air starting to retreat here across the middle portions of the country. It's displaced itself into the northeast. Temperatures are mostly in the 60s across Nebraska. The only exception is in areas where that snow cover is, and you could see it pretty definite showing up here on the current temperature map. Some of those areas where heavier snow cover exists. Casper at 39, Douglas at 43, 62 in Scottsbluff, 67 in North Platte, just 51 in Chadron. Winds are out of the various directions. Some are north, some are south. Under 15 for the most part. Some gustier breezes around North Platte and back towards the high country. Futurecast is quiet here across the region tonight. We're going to be mainly clear. Just a few passing clouds. That's about it. Now, as we go through the afternoon tomorrow, we're going to see skies get a little more cloudy here across the region. And again, an isolated sprinkle. That's about all we're going to see, but enough that we'll mention it. And then as we go into Easter Sunday, a beautiful-looking day coming our way with sunshine and mild temps again back into the mid and upper 60s. Lows tonight are in the 20s to near 30. Highs tomorrow Mostly 60s and low 70s, cooler 50s from Wheatland up through Harrison and Chadron and Northwest, where those heavier snow covers are at. But if you're outside the snow, it's going to warm up fairly quickly. Precip going to be just a couple of hundredths from anybody that gets it. Most will not get any precip. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. Lows down around 29 for tomorrow. A mix of clouds and sun in the morning. It'll turn mostly cloudy, though, later in the day. Highs are going to be in the upper 60s. Our 7-day forecast has mid-60s for Easter Sunday, mid-70s for Monday, and then there's the low 80s Tuesday and Wednesday of next week with an isolated chance of a thunderstorm by next Thursday and a bit cooler as we go into next weekend.
This is KNEB.TV Ag News from the FNBO Ag Desk. FNBO, the great big small bank.
Nebraska wheat production is ranked as 11th largest across the nation. As much as 50% of the wheat is annually exported to international markets. That is why earlier this year we took a trip out to Portland, Oregon in order to learn more about what happens to Nebraska wheat once it leaves the fields. While up to half of Nebraska wheat is shipped to other markets across the world, the other half is of course used domestically. It is used in places like Marcy Bakery. Market Journal's Bill Dodd has more on this story.
With facilities located in Portland, Oregon and Kent, Washington, Marcy Baking is a family-owned wholesale bakery serving the Pacific Northwest. Established in 1993, Marcy Baking quickly earned a reputation for creating the most premium, high-quality desserts and breads Portland has to offer. Daniel Bess, general manager for Marcy Baking, showed our group around the Portland facility. During our time there, it was easy to see that Daniel and his team share a passion and enthusiasm for the work they do and the products they create here on a daily basis.
The bakery is a family-owned bakery. It's been in business for over 20 years. We are in the cake section of the bakery where we make cakes. Try to have the section far away from the oven so we don't have any heat, so we can always stay nice and cool. And that's what we do in that section is mostly cake, pastries, French pastries. And as we go farther away from here, then you have cookies, you have bread, and the oven way at the end of the building over there where we bake everything fresh every day. We make product and we are all working together. We are very happy and we care about what we do all the time. So quality product is important and also how it's made. We want to make sure that everything is done correctly. And of course, to me, hopefully everything we do here is going to end up somewhere and someone, some place somewhere, and that's going to give them a smile when they eat the product.
During our time in the Pacific Northwest with the Nebraska Wheat Board, we spent a good deal of time at the Wheat Marketing Center. It was there that our group learned that the quality of wheat set for export is of great importance to our overseas buyers. That feeling is mutual for the good folks here at Marcy Baking. Just glancing around the facility, it became clear very quickly that this family-owned baking business on the West Coast was very reliant on commodities like wheat and sugar beets that are produced by hardworking farming families here in the Midwest.
Everything is made fresh every day, and we send some product to some restaurants, some coffee shops, some hospital, catering business, so pretty much you name it, we have product everywhere from here to Eugene. Yeah, I think the people like our product, they like our service as well. And the quality of the product is very simple. We use very basic ingredients, a lot of butter, egg, sugar. Sugar, we use cane sugar and some beet sugars are the two primary sugar that we use here. Mostly beet sugar, that's what we use the most. Flour and pastry flour for other cakes and cookies. Then we need to go into the bread flour. So we have several types of flour. We have whole wheat flour, white flour, rye flour. So depending on the bread we're making, we use different flour all the time. So the quality is there and people recognize that.
When it comes to creating these classic culinary confections, this bakery goes through enough flour and sugar in one day to make your head spin. That's one reason Danielle is always so happy when he gets to meet agricultural producers that play an important role in his livelihood.
We use on a weekly basis close to 8 pallets One pallet is 2,500 pounds, so we do the math, it's a lot of flour. We use about 1,000 pounds of eggs per week, 1,000 pounds of butter per week, so we use a lot of product to get fresh. Yeah, I think it's awesome to work with farmers. I'm hoping that someday I have the time to go see into the farm to see where the wheat comes from actually, which would be great. Like yesterday we have a tour and one of the farmers recognized that the sugar we use here, the beet sugar, that comes from their farm. They were very excited and very happy. I think it's great when we can tie together where the product comes from, what we do with it, and where it's going to end up. I think it's a great thing when we can all tie those three together.
After 2 decades in business, Marcy Baking continues to focus on their core goals, providing the best baked goods in the Pacific Northwest with exceptional customer service. Through teamwork and steady leadership, this baking company is poised to keep turning out high-quality, value-added products from high-quality Midwest commodities for decades to come.
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
Let's take a peek at what's happening on your weekend community calendar. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. Community strong with the people you know and trust.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you plan for tomorrow while you enjoy today. Our personalized trust services can help you do just that. You've worked hard to build your legacy, and you want to make sure that gets passed on for generations to come. We offer the professional guidance necessary to ensure that happens, according to your wishes. We pride ourselves in being friendly and professional while offering a highly tailored full line of trust and estate planning services to accommodate you. You belong here.
And finally tonight, this past weekend at the Midwest Theater, a screening of a documentary showcasing world-renowned baker Marta Stoliar and her tutelage of Torrington's The Bread Doctor. The film follows Marta and Esdon Flukiger as she helps the Torrington doctor learn everything he needs to know to open a bakery in just 4 short weeks. Stoliar and the Flukiger family was on hand for their screening and afterwards spoke to the crowd. Esdon explained how he had to get a variance to bake out of his home before acquiring his business on Main Street.
Listen, I'm not going to put a parking lot in the residential area. I'm not going to put up a neon sign. I'm going to put a sign in the window of my dining room, bake sale today, and I'm going to advertise on Facebook, and it's only going to be a couple times a month. And then we would just have a period of 2 hours, basically, where people would drive by or come in the house for between 4 and 6